Hey guys, thanks for listening to Kinda Dating, the comedy dating podcast, where influential guests and I break down the dating world and try to figure out why the do we all have commitment issues? Today's topic is Brian Choi the problem? Let's find out. Hello, friends. I'm Natasha Chandel. You're listening to Kinda Dating. Guys, we're gonna jump right into this episode, but before we do, remember if you like this episode, screenshot the episode and tag us on social media. Also, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the podcast, whether you're listening to it on YouTube or on your favorite podcast app. Please look down, press subscribe or follow or whatever the new fucking plus button is. But just do that, please, for us. And leave us a 5-star rating or review. I know a couple of you guys got a little upset that, like, how come I've been posting so many classic episodes? But again, if you weren't listening, those classic episodes got deleted. So none of you have actually heard them. And they were very, very good episodes. And they were the first ones that got us into Apple New and Noteworthy. So I really felt like while I'm super stressed planning a wedding I never thought I would have, I thought that you guys could get some good advice and really hear what the podcast used to be like, because those guests are some of my absolute favorites. I'm not gonna lie. So I still hope that you're enjoying it, even though you hear kind of like a squeaky version of my voice, because I started that like 7-8 years ago, and it was when I was like, hey, welcome to Kinda Dating. I'm Natasha Chandel. So I hope you are enjoying that. I have grown up since then, and now I have a sexy, seductive voice. So I'm sorry if you do hate it. So please don't write that in the reviews if you do. But if you love them because you're getting some value out of those cool old episodes, please leave us a 5-star rating or review. Thank you. Also, follow us. We're on social media. We're at Kinda Dating across the board. We have launched a new YouTube. Sorry, guys. I know it's a lot of business shit I got to do right now, but I got to do it. We've launched a new YouTube. We're posting a shit ton of content there. We really, really want it to grow. Please look at our faces there. We have great videos, especially on TikTok and Instagram. Our stuff is like picking up steam. So please support us and support the podcast there, because it's what we need. I'm also on social media. I'm at Natasha Chandel on Instagram and Facebook, and Natasha.Chandel on TikTok. Okay, I got your favorite co-host back with me, right?
Yes.
People loved you.
Did they love me?
They like loved to hate you.
Hold on, let me promote my stuff for 20 minutes before we start this episode.
Hey, it's my podcast. Totally what I get to do. But you people loved and hated Razzle Dangerously, who's back with me as the co-host of this episode, which we're going to get into very quickly. But what's up, man?
Yeah,
thanks for coming back.
Thanks for having me. I'm like a cop from an 80s movie. I'm a loose cannon, but I'm good at my job. So
you were so good. I loved it.
I can play the heel, but also speak truths. So if you don't like what I say, just believe the fakeness that you already do, I guess. I don't know, because I spout the facts.
I loved it. I love opinionated people. So it was awesome, and I'm glad that you're coming back here. How can everybody find you on socials?
You can find me on Instagram at Razzle Dangerously, on TikTok at My Name is Razzle, and on YouTube at My Name is Razzle.
You're as complicated as I am, with just different handles for every social media. Wait, what was your excuse? Because you actually have Razzle. Like, who had that? Mine. Somebody fucking took my handle.
Yeah, I had them all the same for a while. Then the algorithm, I'm testing out a new thing where I have more interaction on this new account, Razzle Dangerously, than my other account that I had, because it just wasn't growing for 4 years. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to start a new one. And I'm already at 30% of what my old one has.
Amazing.
And I just get more interaction that way. So I started
Love it.
So that's why I started the new one.
Yeah, we all got to try to game that system.
Something, just trying to pull the wool over Meta's eyes.
I like it.
Yeah,
I like it. You're hearing another laugh. I know you're like, who the heck is that other person? Well, if you're on YouTube, you've already seen him. But that's another reason to watch the YouTube. We're doing a very new type of episode today. It's kind of an experimental episode. we're testing out something that Razzle and I want to do as a potential live show. You heard it here first. And we're thinking of doing a live show with the podcast that actually stars you guys as the main guest. So it'd be myself, Razzle, and a panel of comedians, and we'll dissect your dating life live on stage and figure out, are you the problem? So our first guinea pig is a great dude. He's a senior character artist at LucasFilm, which, my gosh, that's so cool. And he's a comedian. You've seen him at places like Crack 'em Up Thursdays, at Comedy Store. He's been in the Ed Fringe Fest in 2022 and was on BuzzFeed with his mom. That's really cool. What was that about?
That was specifically Crazy Rich Asians paying BuzzFeed for sponsored content. And then the premise of that episode was producer goes on a blind date with a guy, but then she doesn't know that the mom shows up halfway through. And right, to emphasize the whole movie thing. So they shot that, all 3 sets of mom-son sets in a single day in one restaurant. So that was, I was surprised my mom agreed to that because that's the first thing she's ever done like that. And then I was personally more happy that we're talking about a nurse that like comes back home and she just like slums on the couch and like in sweatpants and stuff. But she comes in guns blazing, like an emerald green dress, like dolled up a bit. And so she presents really well. And it was just like a nice, even if I lost to a clown that episode, we went to Tommy's Burgers afterwards and it was just one of the few times we've actually like hung out kind of thing.
Oh, that's so sweet. Well, I didn't even introduce your name.
Oh.
Welcome, Brian Choi.
Hello.
I feel like I was surprised that you were down to do this.
Oh, I have my shame muscles like dead.
It's the best.
It's sort of dead.
Yeah. So I'm very curious, like, is your mom proud of you for working at Lucasfilm and equally ashamed of you for being single?
The former, she is, but she keeps thinking I only work at Disney, which I say that specific because Lucasfilm, that I'm being paid by Lucas, but yeah, Disney owns Lucasfilm, and I'm specifically with Industrial Light and Magic, but now that I'm realizing it, most people don't know who the VFX studio is. The latter, she hasn't said anything at all about my dating life, at all.
Wow.
Only my father, but that was a very specific conversation back in 2019 at 11:30 at night.
Are they ashamed that you're a comedian?
No, they've come to my shows. I just don't know what they make of the comedy because, like, I've literally asked them, like, hey, like, do you think any of this is funny? And she'll respond like, I don't know what you're talking about. Or I don't understand.
Yeah, she doesn't get it. Yeah, my parents don't. My parents have never even come to a comedy show. I actually got them free tickets, and I had a sold out show in Toronto, and then it was sold out, and I got both my parents free tickets, and the only 2 empty seats were my parents.
That's the core memory that you
last
remember.
minute were just like, we don't want to come. And then my partner was like, no, she really wants you to come. And literally my mom just looked at him and she goes, I know. No.
And
that was it. But it wasn't like her trying to be mean. She just was like, it's not my thing. I'm not going to get it. And I was like, it's just let him be. I want to know, what was this conversation with your dad in 2019 at night?
Good question. Because out of context, basically my life from 2014 to 2020, I'm living at home with my folks back in the borderline between LA County and Orange County. While my life functionally was like waking up.
How old are you?
I'm like 31 right now.
So you were 20.
You're like 31 or you are 31?
I am 31 right now. I'm sure this is a different age because it's Asian, but no. So like right after university ended, USC, till 2020. And while I was working, I was living at home with my parents, but then we functionally lived different lives. Like I wake up late, came back home late, like 11:30 at night late. They woke up early, slept early. So whatever bullets people had about or issues with like living with their parents, I like 99% dodged. So the evening I come back home late at night, my dad's still up and he's like, hey, I have a question I'd like to ask you. He wasn't saying it threateningly, but I'm like, wait, this is serious because this is super rare that we have any like proactive conversation on his end. So I'm like, okay, like sit down in his office and we look each other in the eye. And then he asks me, like, why aren't you dating more Korean women? Which he's lucky that I've been like stewing on that question already for like the last 2 years up to that point. So I gave him the spiel that I've been talking about with friends already. So, and his response—
Which is what?
Oh, this is— how much time do we have?
Oh, we got time?
You got plenty.
At the time, and I'm sure there's some modifiers right now. So it's my understanding or perception, I should say, that a lot of East Asian women, at least, when they're trying to respond to the question of like, what does like maximizing my beauty look like, or maximize my feminine beauty look like, out of the possible pie chart that exists in the world, for the large majority of them err towards being cute. Like if you think about K-pop styling, right? That's mostly cute, despite them aping Black hip hop culture and stuff like that. It's still somewhat ending up cute. I just know for me, like my first impression does not immediately gravitate towards cute. And I'm trying not to make jokes about this right now, but it's like, something about it's like, oh, like it's something about this feels childish or not mature, and I just gravitate more towards like other parts of that pie at first initial blush. But there's always exceptions, and there have been exceptions in the past. But yeah,
you are clearly not a white guy.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
that's
Shots
literally
fired.
the white
Shots
man.
fired. My friends my friends.
Razzle, what's
call
it
me
like
up.
to be obsessed with cute Asian girls?
I have the same conversation with my friends. Only it's
Okay.
like, why are you only dating Asian women?
And cute Asian girls. That's like
which
a whole
most
thing.
of them are. Most of them are by volume, I think. Ish. I don't know. I have to double
But
check.
wait, what's your vibe then?
That I go for?
What would be if it's not cute? You want him to be like what, badass, like street? You want him
Yeah.
what?
Badass is up there. Sultry as an adjective has been pretty consistent. The word I want to use is if I'm intimidated by them, that's usually a good thing to me. But that's not a word that I think other people process in this positive way I do.
Okay, what's intimidating?
Like they're
intimidates
like
you?
they're very good at something that I'm like just woefully bad at or would like to get better at. I mean, academics, for example, come to mind. They stick out like a sore thumb to me, like, in a good way. If you roast me on like a first date, like that's great.
Yeah.
Like the last date I went on, the first activity we had was like her saying, "Wow, you look way better in person. You must suck at taking photos." And then we face-tuned to one of my profile pictures for like the next 15 minutes. So I was like, this is actually pretty funny and interesting. Okay, I appreciate like whether it's just like a bluntness or whether it's just what she does, and it makes sense why she did that.
And this was a first date?
With her, yeah.
And was there a second date?
I mean, there will be once we figure out her schedule. She's like,
Got
she's
it,
a busy person. I seem usually busy. I tend to have a more flexible schedule, I think.
And how old is she?
28.
Okay.
Assuming that's true on the coffee meets bagel.
Well, I mean, from my understanding, and I had a similar thing is there was a girl I liked who was, mental sparring like that.
Yeah.
And as, the older we get as adults, that's how dating is dating becomes the busy of weeks in between dates.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, that's almost kind of how you want it to be, right? Because you want them to live their lives and be busy.
I mean, I don't know about weeks between
Sure.
dates,
Yeah.
but days or
Sure.
a week maybe between a date. Don't go weeks,
Right. And,
Brian.
but like we're still communicating and like talking in between.
Yes.
But I wonder for what you said is modified by the fact that we're functionally Angelinos, so we're used to the flow of life here versus like I'm just imagining like friends in Texas or Missouri where like having been there for a little bit, I'm like, oh, okay, I could see why boredom leads to wanting to get into a relationship as quickly as possible or speed run into a marriage, et cetera. But that's me being mean to those folks.
Yeah, to your hometown people.
The
Are they there?
hometowns here in Cerritos,
Oh,
actually.
okay,
I'm
all
thinking
right.
about like friends just like living
Got it.
New Orleans or stuff like
So,
that.
Right.
so Brian, tell us first,
Okay.
because we jumped into a lot without anybody getting any context about you. So,
Right.
tell us a bit about you. How old are you? Where are you
Yeah.
from? What are your sexual preferences? What
Okay.
do we got going on? What are we dealing with here?
I'm 31. I was born in LA a couple months after the LA riots in 92. And then hometown's Cerritos, California for me. And I would quickly describe it as an LA County city that's desperately trying to look like Irvine. But it's still LA County technically. What is it? They made a point of saying when the public library was built, like, wow, it's plated with titanium alloy. And I'm like, what are we protecting the books from? Like, what? It's actually pretty impressive. The children's section is awesome. And then spent like a year and a half of time in Virginia because family was out there for a little bit and my parents were doing schooling. But I'm like the only one in my family that was born in the U.S. So I could threaten everybody by running for president.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And like, but Cerritos is like heavily Asian.
Oh, aggressively, yeah.
Right?
Like my high school was mostly Asians.
Mhm.
And then if we include, that includes the Pakistanis, Indians, and the Bangladeshi guy that was there.
The one Bangladeshi guy.
Yeah, I'm in retrospect, I'm like still surprised.
Razzle would have been the minority over there.
Yeah.
We had 2 white guys in our class. They tried to start a white pride club.
Really?
And it wasn't racist. It wasn't racist.
Hold on. Hold on,
white
hold on.
prank club?
White Pride Club.
They
Probably as a prank, but
they tried to start it and they couldn't. There's only 2 of them. They couldn't get each other on board.
no, they got each other on board and they
Okay.
got the large majority of the class and the school signed on because we Robert Travers is a shout out to you guys.
Right.
This is silly.
Right.
This is not going to be racist. We know they're
Right.
not racist.
Right.
They got the Taiwanese physics teacher to sign on as a faculty sponsor. So this ball was rolling. It's just that our principal is
The
a white lady
optics.
from Arkansas, so she knows
The optics
better.
would be bad. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I still feel a little sad that didn't happen, but I appreciated so much the amount of like
Yeah.
just trolling gall they had.
Nothing's funnier than a white pride club with only 2 people.
Oh God!
Yeah.
And they were a minority at this high school. So
They were.
what does a minority do? They start a culture club to affirm their identity.
Sure.
Well, it's funny because it's like with gay pride parade, there are people who want to do a straight pride parade. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that's everyday
Yeah,
life.
it's just
Everyday life is a straight pride parade.
right. And I think for Travis or Robert, they weren't at that level of cognizance about their
Yes.
existences. But I think I would not be surprised if they felt surrounded as kids.
Yeah,
Like there was like way too much seasoning that they're smelling, or like
Mhm.
curry smells out of the.
I get it. It's a lot. It's a lot to take in. It's a lot.
Yeah.
So you grew up around all the Asians,
Yeah.
but that must have been hard for you because you're not into like the cute Asians, and a majority that you felt were like cute Asians. So who have you been dating, and what's sort of your sexual preference? I don't really want to assume that it's
Right.
female, so I don't know. You have to identify that for us.
It's been women,
Okay.
mostly Caucasian.
Okay.
Like the last relationship was with a Russian woman who just politically refugee immigrated to here, like at the time, like 10 months ago. There have been Asians I've like dated or somewhat dated at least, or tried to date in the past. So it's a mix. I think like, sexual preferences wise, I mean,
You seem to like Dom. Do you are you?
I suspect I do. Like I
Because-
haven't gone out of my way to test that.
He because you first said I want an aggressive woman. Like you appreciate aggression in a way, and then you said Russian, and I was like, oh, I know Russian. Like my friends have dated, and I'm friends with Russian women.
Yeah.
They are f***ing strong as,
I'm
and they're
assuming so.
direct,
Yeah.
and it will put you in your place. And some men love that.
You definitely seem like you're somebody who's okay with saying yes, ma'am, a lot.
Oh yeah. I mean, I probably will be on FetLife in the future, probably just out of curiosity. No, but like actually, surprising that Russian lady I was dating, I would have described her as like fairly gentle and like not a lot of like active talking between the both of us. Like a lot of that relationship was like me trying to figure out, okay, so my expectations are being subverted here about what I would have wanted, but what is this right now between me and her? And I just remember noting one of the things, like we're not like actively discussing things constantly. But then it helped a lot that like towards the end, like we were able to like not butt heads, but directly talk about what I would describe as define the relationship things or expectations and stuff like that.
So have you found that like, okay, you like these sort of dominant women, then do you consider yourself like a dominant guy? What's your dynamic with them usually?
It's all over the place. It just depends. I mean, my assumption is I have to be assertive just as a male in America dating and stuff like that. Because, I mean, there's always the idea, like, using stereotypes here, women love plans, guys need to make their first move. Bumble recently just,
I know.
like, verified, like, women don't have to make the first move anymore. Like,
Really?
Yeah. Bumble
it's
just
very recent.
Bumble
they
got rid of that?
deleted their entire
Yeah.
Instagram. They deleted their rebranding, and they are now
They're giving
every
them-
other app.
Right.
Because
Okay.
now a man doesn't
A
have
man
to
can-
initiate.
The whole point of Bumble was that
Yeah,
the women can do it.
Yes.
which they will,
Oh, sorry. yes, women
rarely.
have to initiate. Now it's anybody can initiate.
Wow.
but the consistent joke with the Bumble users, especially on the guy side, is that, like, when women do initiate, this is like a lot of Reddit information, like, they will just say, hey.
Right. That's the thing about Bumble is every other app, girls, and I'm not on any apps right now,
Right.
but on Bumble, the funny thing about Bumble is on every other app, girls are like open with something other than hey. And then you get on Bumble and that's
Yeah.
all the women open with.
Yep. But like then again, I can understand on their side. It's like, if it's a bad profile, what do you do? Like, what are you supposed to say? Or
Well, a lot of times guys don't give much in their profiles. Where
Yeah.
women will give like more information that you could glean from and kind of be like, hey, I'm going to make a witty joke about, but guys also have the stupidest opening
Right.
lines. But,
Right.
Yeah.
you can say
Can't
something.
confirm.
Men just tend to have like pictures and like one-liners, like one word. What apps do you use, Brian?
Right now, I say forced, but I'm going to say this very specific. Forced to use Coffee Meets Bagel, and I'm on Holy Upward. Actually, I just signed up for Field out of shits and giggles. And then
I was just gonna say you are a Fields guy for sure.
right, but I signed up just out of like just macabre curiosity.
Oh yeah, sure, because that's what everybody.
Hold on. We got it. First off, this is how old I am. What is Holy Upward and what is Field?
So it's Upward.
I don't know what Field is.
Upward is matchgroup.com, the one that owns like Hinge and whatnot. It's their specific push for the Christian dating market people.
Okay.
I'm on Yuzu too, which is the Asian specific focused one that Match owns as well.
What's that one?
Yuzu, like the fruit.
Okay, love it.
Interesting.
Oh yeah.
And Fields. I am so fascinated, Brian. Okay, so you're into Holy Upward, into Christian women.
Yeah.
But also dominating kink app like Fields. And he's opening up into the Asian pool with Yuzu. I am like, so your ideal is almost like she would be a kinky Asian who is Christian.
Maybe.
Christian
I mean,
Asian.
I at this point in my life, I don't know if I have like space to even demand things anymore.
But
I'm
these
just
are
like,
all so wildly different.
Yeah. And like, but like everyone's, here's my philosophical expectations about this. Like, no one's going to be, yeah, I am. But like, there's no, what is it? Besides the few deal breakers I have, it's like, I can't, like each relationship is going to be different. So I can't really, I have to take people as they come kind of deal.
Yeah.
Now, why are you on these specific apps and not on the classics?
Bumble and Hinge, I've gotten banned off of in the last 6, 7, or 8 times, depending on which one. But I understand why.
Wait, what? 6, 7, 8 times you got banned from the app?
You've been banned 6 times each time?
Like I've tried making new accounts to circumvent the ban. And other methods like buying new like burner phones and stuff like that. But
burner phones? You're buying burner phones?
Android phones are cheap.
Hold on.
I mean, relative to our tax bracket, I feel like they're cheap.
Hold on.
Take your time. Take your time. This is a long story.
So you're and I'm gonna hear the story because I can't wait.
Yeah.
Are you a serial killer? I just need to ask. Did I just let a serial killer into our house?
My employers would have found out if I was.
All right, Disney, please do your jobs.
Were you having that much success that you kept trying to go back to Bumble 7 times?
Hinge specifically, actually. Hinge was far more successful than Bumble for me.
And so
I met my partner on Hinge.
There you go.
So you'd not be in a relationship. So you match with people on Hinge, but then you wouldn't get in a relationship.
I would get into a relationship with people off of Hinge.
For how long?
Like months on end. Like my longest relationship at this point, this is going to completely modify things too, like 4 months was with that Russian woman. By time-wise, and like that was like 9 dates though.
I think we need to ask the real question, which is why did you get banned from these apps?
Thank you.
So they don't tell you explicitly why. It's very much just you just broke terms of service. So that's vague. And that terms of service is long, or community guidelines, one of those two. And so my understanding right now is that the method I had now was but back in the day, same format, was far more sarcastic, far more roasty than it needed to be. That all it would take would be enough, either 1+ individuals to get offended to report me in. And this is understanding. Hinge does not have like a group of like Filipinos doing customer service, not like Meta does. It's just presumably, if I'm using my tech brain here, user gets X number of reports, then we are just going to ban them automatically.
Right.
So my presumption is that my methodology back in the day was far more roasty, far more sarcastic, which hopefully it's more mature adult now, not the greatest place to reveal that or to text that in at that stage in any conversation like that.
I want to know what were some of the things you were saying.
So like it would be like, I'm trying to remember because like I have my methods now, like the copy paste intro message I use now, but back in the day we like.
What did you? Okay, I have so many. There's
questions. Layers to this, yeah.
Okay, so let's first start with.
Okay.
What were some of the old? You got to just be honest about it. What were some of the old? Don't act like you don't. You were banned 7 times, bitch. You remember a couple of the things.
If you have
said.
a copy and paste now, you had a copy and paste then. What was the copy and paste then?
Copy and paste then would be like. Gosh, I don't even think it was copy paste back then. It was just me trying to like riff off of like the number of times people talk about tacos or something, or like
But enough for a girl to report you.
Right.
Did you say sexual things?
No. Nothing.
Did you say anything about their weight?
No.
Did you say anything about their looks?
No, probably not like that.
not like that.
You're not getting kicked off of Hinge because you make
Made
fun of a
taco
girl eating
jokes.
Taco
I'm
Tuesday.
gonna have like an awkward pause trying to remember this because it would for sure be like riffing and roasting things about like the consistent things we've all seen before. At least last time we've been on apps, like people loving travel or people like talking about their pets or saying that they love adventure kind of deal. And you know, an obvious one.
Did you say? Did you fuck your dog?
No.
Or something like what?
There we go. Okay, so I'm sort of
trying to go like what you couldn't have said something generic about somebody's travel or their pet.
Right, but my guess is that let me use a specific one that I'm remembering. So someone would say, I love hiking, I love outdoor stuff. Okay, so a riff I would remember using briefly, which I have no idea was successful or not, if I actually pissed anybody off, but I would imagine someone would get offended, would maybe saying, isn't hiking just like a mildly aggressive walking uphill? And I'm saying that only thinking that all it would take would be one person to be like, that offends me. I'm reporting that in.
Really? Would
and
that
the
be
basis,
offensive?
and the basis is not even offensive. It's this. Does this make me feel uncomfortable?
Would they unfollow you? Would they unmatch you then?
No. This would just. I would assume that you can make the report before you even match, right? Because for women's stack, it's like it's usually stacks of guys who have already said, "Hey, I'd like to connect with you." So you're just going through. Be like, do I decide myself to connect with this person, or you have the option like, hey, I want to report this person, for X, Y, Z, 1, 2, 3 reasons.
Did you send dick pics?
No, I've never sent a dick pic in my life.
Never.
Yeah. Because I got into the age of the internet
7-8 times.
Because my assumption is that when I tried to work around in the future, that basically they track, oh, it's the same guy. It's like the same phone number. Or I'm using the same pictures.
But you used burner accounts.
Right.
You got burner phones.
Yeah.
So means, like, how did they still find out it was you?
This now gets into speculation about like I know how like video games, for example, detect cheating really efficiently. Like you only need a couple pixels and a certain way to assess the data to track, oh, is this person doing XYZ thing? So for full-on photos, like I was reusing photos. I was reusing videos that I used previously because it was still my intention. Like I'm still trying to be here authentically, intentionally. But it's not hard to say, oh, wait, this guy's face, this set apart eyes, it's him. Like we can detect that at some point. If they have that technology set up, but those companies are black boxes. So they're not going to explicitly talk about it. And there is an appeals process now, but Lord knows what convinces Hinge that you're like a normal person kind of deal. So when I was using Bumble, specifically right before I left for Hong Kong for vacation, essentially, several months ago, I was connecting with people as normal, just like talking to people like, hey, I'm visiting. I'd love to, if the intention was like, I'd love to go on a date with those people or whoever happens to link up with me. They're in Hong Kong, et cetera, like authentically intentional, et cetera, with the caveat that this is travel dating. So all the travails that connect with that. My understanding was that, and especially with my other previous travels, a lot of people use WhatsApp internationally, unless you're in China or in Korea, for example. So I would eventually ask at least two people, like, hey, let's exchange WhatsApp information. And I guess my assumption is Bumble banned me because, oh, wait, user asked for WhatsApp contact information. That sounds sus. And then I wouldn't be surprised if someone that I asked, like, reported that and it's like, oh, he asked me for WhatsApp contact information. That makes me uncomfortable, or that sounds scammy. Report. Increase report, but yeah. But to me, I was genuinely like surprised at the time and not offended, but like, man, because this is how I usually communicate with international people. Like
that is how international people communicate. Something doesn't totally add up to me. I don't know, Raz, does it add up to you?
0%.
Okay. Also, how casually you're just like, I use burner phones. Yeah.
I don't.
So what? I'm like, I'm
a technology guy, so like it's a cheap cost / the method, like to make new.
Yeah, but how many?
Like 2 or 3 at this point. Yeah, at most.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Brian, I'm looking at you. I'm analyzing.
Feel free to be sus.
I'm trying to figure it out.
So how did you and Mom meet? We met on a dating app that I was using a burner phone to use.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like, are you Asian mafia? What's happening here? Like. Okay, Brian, okay, you've been single for how long?
Since October of this year. So how many months is that? Like
October of this year. It's May.
October of last year, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and then before that, have you ever been in a relationship? Like, what's your longest relationship that you've been in?
4 months or 9 dates.
4 months or
4 months, which was 9 dates of that.
9 dates.
Nothing long term.
Over 4 months.
Yeah. No one that has ever said I love you to me.
Okay. Have you ever said it?
No.
Why?
It just never got to that point. I mean, like with the last relationship, she said, I think I like you. So that was the
I
farthest.
think I like you.
Yeah.
Not even I like you. I think I do. I'm not sure.
But I think the trepidation.
I still got 9 more dates to decide if I
She's gotta
like you,
figure
but
that out.
I think I like you.
Well, she said that at 9 dates in.
I think I like you.
But this was very specific at the crossroads. Like, we're trying to figure out if this is like a real thing. Are we committing to this? But there's never been a long-term relationship, no.
If I don't like you by the 3rd date, I'm not going on the 4th date.
Right.
There's no thinking
But
about it.
9
Do I like
dates
you?
over 4 months
And
I
we,
think I like you.
to figure
Hey,
out, I think.
we made out before she even said that. Like, well before we even said that. So, like, for her, it was that flow of time / process. Like, I know I have my own, like, in a perfect world, would I want these bases in these certain orders? Sure. But, I mean, everyone's different. I mean, she was incredibly different from the previous relationships or women I've tried dating. So.
Yeah.
Did they like you?
I mean, the ones that went on like several dates with me, or the ones I happened to be able to kiss or make out with, etc. Yeah.
And why did they usually end?
By volume, it's like it's either ending with I'm not feeling a romantic connection. That's usually like very early, like first date, second date kind of thing, or I think we're just friends.
You get friend zoned
right.
a lot. Okay. And is that part? I mean, why do you think that is? Why do you think you're getting friend zoned?
I mean, if it's just me, it's either I'm not flirting in a way as proactively or aggressive or assertively as the other person's expecting, or there's other thoughts about like, is it me being as an Asian man in this dating economy that affects things? Because the very simplified version of this insecurity would be like, I understand visually I don't fit into clean expectations for what people perceive for like a boyfriend or a husband kind of thing.
What do you mean? I think you're really attractive. You're super tall. You're fucking built. You put together. You got a great ass job.
But you are an Asian lady, so you might have like a modifier.
I'm probably the one that's like more prejudiced against my people. What are you talking about?
Which we know. I mean, we both know that as Asians. Like, yeah, we're pretty good self-racists in a way. But
yeah,
I'm thinking about most of the Caucasian women, or very frankly, like the white church ladies.
What I would suspect it could be is that you tend to like dominating women,
which are rare,
who are very alpha male women, and so they might want a very alpha male because or they like very beta guys who kind of just do as they say, but it's hard to, it's hard to find that dynamic as much as it is for an alpha male to be with like a beta female.
And I literally had a conversation with, it wasn't a date, but we were at Aircrew in Koreatown, me and this one lady, and I remember specifically, wow, like she's very alpha energy. She roasts the hell out of me. Very like she's actually funny. I'm not like laughing because I'm trying to agree with her. And she made mention at some point in time about like her being in this like toxic relationship with this like anger issue Vietnamese guy, which I'm laughing because like, it sounds like Vietnamese dudes sometimes. But the way she was describing it was like this relationship ran for a while. She was noting these negative aspects of the relationship, but why? My rhetorical question was like, why were you in this for so long? Like, what was it about this relationship still seemed to be working despite the challenges, if we're putting it lightly? So I'm wondering for her rhetorically, it's like, so what are you responding more? Because I know for me, it's like, as I heard that, I was like, I want to believe I worked on my anger issues, but I would understand other people want more, I don't know, like toxic-ish traits or something, etc. Yeah, that's true. It's true. We've clearly, like, for all the jokes, we've heard
for all the concepts of women, and this brings me to a question, but yes, they do want, they act like they don't want masculinity, and I'm generalizing.
Yeah.
I'm generalizing. The internet, I should say, a lot of women on the internet the last few years, and I've said this before, so I'm not going to go into it again on this episode. Women act like they want to be, I need a guy who can show emotion, and then when you're showing too emotion, or you're not being assertive, especially with women that you like, because I'm in the same vein. I do like, successful or like impressive women that are, can hold their own. But my question to you is, how come you got banned, quote unquote, I'm using quotes because I don't believe you at all.
Okay.
For being snarky and roasty in the comments of dating apps, but you can't take that confidence in that toxic masculinity into the real world of real dates. Because from my experience, And I've had similar things where I've gotten friend zoned because I wasn't flirty. I didn't take my sexualness up to 11 because I was trying to just play chill or aloof. And at some point you got to turn it on and be like, fucking, let's make out type of thing. Right. And if you are fine being flirty and sarcastic and a dick on these apps, how come you can't be a dick and flirty in that in real life? If that is the reason why you think you keep getting pushed aside.
I think baseline is just I'm not in practice. Like I have not deliberately gone on my way to do cold opens like that. It's gotten better, honestly.
Yeah, but these aren't cold opens. These are, you're already on the date with the woman. So why can't
during
you,
the dates.
Yeah. Like if you already have them on a date, then how come you can't
that's been fine. I've definitely been sarcastic, flirty. I mean, I'm thinking about the blind date I was on in Korea during the Hong Kong trip. Like, context, sister's friend out of the blue is like, hey, there's someone I want to set up a sogeting with you, which is Korean for blind date, but it's a very particular, like friend introduces you to another friend kind of deal. And then I remember that by the end of that date, to me, this kind of vaguely felt out of character, but I was like asking her before she left her bus stop, like, hey, I've been wondering what that lip gloss you've been using tastes like. And it's like, let me show you. And then I moved in for the kiss. That worked. And I was like, wow, why did that work? But that's by volume, that's such a rare.
Because it's an awesome line. That's why it worked, my guy.
Right. And she was surprised too. So we went in for another one. But I'm saying specifically.
Score.
Yeah, dude.
But I'm saying specifically, that's not as much practice. I haven't had as much practice with that as, say, other people have. It's becoming more useful now during these dates, or I've been doing it more deliberately over the last couple of years. And this is in the bigger context of I haven't felt as attractive as I have in my life until I got into my late 20s and 30s.
Yeah.
Even though I didn't fundamentally feel like I changed as a person all that much. But obviously career stuff changed, or sense of self a little bit has changed, et cetera, et cetera.
You moved out of your parents' house.
Exactly. And then just learning new things. Right now, the whole with Coffee Meets Bagel, for example, if they would allow you to text people a message, I have a set of far less they're sarcastic, but they're self-deprecating. They're simultaneously intros that are truthful about me, flirty, but also hopefully funny. So the one that comes to mind, the baseline I use is that the most romantic thing I can whisper in your ear in this trash economy. I don't have any student loan debt because I lived in my parents' place. And then the last line would be more budget to spoil your dog with.
Okay.
Now, the key thing about that, and I liked a lot, was that last line you can change to whatever you need to do to make it germane to the profile. So if it's a joke about tacos, always getting the extra guac. Or if it's about someone saying they like travel, no more using Spirit Airlines. And then you could I could just copy paste that over and over and over again without having to think about too much about the stress of connecting with a lot of people. That's the big thing. And just wait till I get connections back and then get into the emotional stress of all right, so let's actually treat this like a real thing.
So speaking of the dating apps, Brian, this is gonna be fun.
Love it. Can't wait.
Can you pull out one of your burner phones and can we see one of your
no,
profiles?
It's not on me right now.
You don't have your phone on you?
Because I haven't taken the time to make an 8th attempt.
What? No, just your phone.
I mean,
right
my
now.
phone. Yeah, my regular phone too.
Yeah.
So you have a regular phone here?
Yeah.
I don't mean a burner.
Do you have dating apps on this phone?
Yeah.
Okay, but can you open one? Okay, which one should we open? All right.
Coffee Meets Bagel.
here's
Coffee
a
Meets
fun
Bagel
one.
really
Hold on. If
useful.
we're
No, but
opening
we have-
dating apps, we need to compare his
Oh,
profile
he's got
from
a
the Christian
bunch.
one and the kinky one.
I would.
This is okay. So this is all the guys. These are all the apps
I have.
Brian has on his phone. So he has
He's
Coffee
got a
Meets Bagel.
folder
Yep.
that has 2 scrolls on it.
Yep. And it's a Coffee Meets Bagel, Upward, Salt. What's Upward?
Salt?
Upward is Match.com's Christian dating app.
Okay, got it. Salt
thing.
is what?
Same thing, but it's a British market specifically. So
For
it's
Christians?
British market.
It originated in Britain, so it's trying to do the same thing,
Okay.
but different company.
But it's for
Raya.
Christians.
Okay, Raya,
Okay.
Yuzu, Holy. You are very Christian.
Let's just round it up to that. Yeah.
Boo.
Boo was described. I don't know who owns it, but it's described as a dating app for introverts.
Interesting.
There's a whole lot of like
Introverted Christians?
just introverts.
Okay.
True Blue.
I downloaded that out of shits and giggles, but I'm wondering what's going to happen. A startup that's focused on dating apps for Democrats. They're only
love that.
operating in Colorado right now with an intention to move to the LA market soon.
From.
Fromy is dating
Fromy.
app that's the pitch is that, hey, you're going to pitch a date idea for drinks or something like that to the profile. And then if they accept, then presumably you will go on that date.
The League.
The League is fundamentally
Oh, the League we know, actually.
Yeah.
Match Honey?
Honey is Christian dating app, but then it's focused on profiles that are purely videos.
Field, which we know.
Right.
It's for kinks, right?
Kink app. Riz.
Riz, I just downloaded, and apparently it's just fundamentally, you put up you create dating profiles, but then the whole app is surrounding some sort of like video live, like reality unscripted television show they're doing on the app. Like, you guys remember that game show app that existed a while ago?
No.
Okay, so at least my assumption is the idea, it just hasn't happened yet because I haven't seen it, where you post an app, people upvote your app or your profile if they like it, and then that will get you closer, if not get you casted for their weekly live dating reality show segment that the company hosts. But then in between you can swipe, etc., presumably message people. I haven't, I've set up my profile, but I haven't gone on my way to deliberately try to connect with people off of that.
Okay.
So you have 14
Yeah.
Question.
apps.
Do you go to church?
Yeah.
Do you go to church regularly?
Yeah.
Are you part of any young adult groups?
I mean, LA is the young adult group.
It is the young adult. Okay.
Basically.
Have you met people there?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And those just didn't work out?
There is a whole discussion about the additional layer that Christian dating provides as a challenge and hopefully solutions depending on what we're specifically talking about. I could use stories like, let's just use this one. I don't know what it's going to say necessarily. Went on a date with a woman I met at like through a parachurch social. Like I knew people, there was a party that I knew other non-denominational Christians were showing up to. So like you kind of made this basic assumption, like these are just the church circles in LA. Asked her out for lunch. We had lunch in Culver City, long lunch, 3 hours. So like I felt comfortable enough to get like 2 drinks, which is not normal for me. Like I'm a big boy, water weight's high.
Right.
She said after the date ended, like I think basically like we're just friends. But then I went on my way to ask like what happened, because I thought we were like going pretty well, vibing. I'd love to take you on a second date. And then graciously on her end, she described like, hey, so you getting 2 drinks during that lunch reminding me of my alcoholic ex-boyfriend. And I'm like, okay, like I'm like simultaneously offended that I'm being compared to him, but I get it. Like it's alcoholism or whatever version of like drinking problem there was. So we had this long conversation about like, with her describing her experiences with that, et cetera. And like for me, trying to say like, no, so I totally get that. Like my drinking habits, 2 drinks is not a big deal if it's like with a nice meal. And like if I usually do that if I feel comfortable enough and like safe enough. But for her,
that just doesn't seem like a fit. That's just that
right.
doesn't seem like a big deal. It was just like not a lifestyle.
In the addition though that I want to add to this, I wonder rhetorically if the Christian judgmentalism that does exist modified her being like, this is a deal breaker for me without her. I mean, this is almost me asking her like, hey, I don't have a drinking problem. I literally have Alcoholic Anonymous friends just like, you don't have a drinking problem. I'm like, I feel like I can make that modification on my end. Like, I don't feel like it didn't feel nice to feel like I was being judged for something that I was not made aware of during the date. Like, if I was told ahead of time, hey, I'm not comfortable with the drinking, like, totally fine. Like, I'm not holding on to that tightly. But I'm using that example hopefully to say, like, there is this layer additionally where, the joke I say on stage is like, or not the joke, there's a statement I have where it's like, I have had far more successful and affectionate relationships with non-church women than with church women.
Yet you have
14.
Yeah.
How many apps? Oh, so sweet.
No.
Guys, his wallpaper is
for Mother's Day.
But,
Mama Bear.
no, quick question.
Open your phone again.
Yeah.
Quick question about kind of what you were saying and in
Here, let me set the locks.
unpacking that a little bit.
Yeah.
Because from some of my experience, just growing up very religious, you being a Christian who also likes kinks, would would you not also kind of come to the conclusion that a lot of quote unquote religious people are kinky behind the scenes?
Oh, it's totally possible. Yeah, the joke's there. It's coming from a real place,
Do you know what I mean?
presumably.
Like So, I mean, perfect example is you. So you just got so you just got to
I'm
find
the representative.
you got to you're the representative of Christian kinks. You're like the male version of Mary Magdalene.
Yeah.
You just got to find one of those.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's the objective, right? My head.
No, are you looking for a long-term relationship?
Yeah. I mean, the end goal is just to get married to somebody I believe in, but
right.
Yeah.
and exists. Let's look at coffee.
Ain't that
Coffee
the
meets
fucking
bagel.
shit?
Okay,
Yeah.
we're gonna look at a couple of these. I want to see coffee meets bagel, which okay, let's guys, we're in his app right now. Let's look at his profile. I don't even know how to use this.
How much time do you spend on all of these?
Yeah, because it's a lot. There are a lot of apps.
Do you go on each one every day?
Okay,
Yeah.
here.
14.
Okay.
You go on 14.
Not all 14,
14.
no.
This is his first picture. He is in a suit.
That's Magic Castle specifically.
Oh yeah,
I had to scrub out my buddy.
Okay, first off,
Photoshop.
Oh shoot. Okay.
First off, can I comment on this photo?
Go ahead.
I've met you in real life.
Yeah.
And hold on.
Oh my God. What is this?
That second photo is great. I love it. But that
I
first
hate
photo,
it.
no, that's fun. That's fun. That's a fun photo. Dude, yes, it is.
No.
The first photo, though, is you in a suit.
Yeah.
And I've seen you in real life. In that photo and that suit, you look tiny. It makes you look like
Something
a
about the
tiny,
suit, yeah.
stocky guy. It doesn't make
But
you
I
look
kinda
like
am.
tall.
For a tall guy, like my proportions are weirdly
Bro,
squatty.
how tall are you?
5'11".
You're not
You're not
at all.
5'11".
No, but you're also not you're not stocky.
It might be my like character artist brain working overtime. It's like if I had an additional inch, I think things would feel more feng shui about my proportions.
Maybe, but I'm saying
But you look short and stocky.
Can I tell you as a girl what comes
Please.
off to me? And please take this with all love and whatever. You come off slightly feminine.
I can see that, yeah.
Which isn't a problem. But if you keep getting friend zoned and you want these dominating women, they might be like, because in person, you are not.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Or is in like, you come off very like, you have like a deep voice and very manly, but.
Right, once people hear me or like.
Yeah, but in
like,
this, you seem like a softie.
Right.
Interesting, okay.
Questionable.
I'm just saying.
Okay, yeah.
Like.
100%.
This is the first time I've heard this actually.
And it's one of the reasons I also was like, oh, let's like, I want to confirm what your gender preferences and sexual preferences are because I don't know.
I do have pink in my closet multiple times.
Yeah, like, okay.
There's a way to wear it. Like, I mean.
Okay, and then let's see the values: communication, career, ambition, confidence, affordable housing.
That's funny.
That's good.
That's clever.
Personality, creative, driven, organized, outgoing, straightforward. Interest, foodie, jazz, grabbing a drink. The most important traits in a partner. Yeah, it's what you said. I am ignited, idiosyncratic, and brash. They don't build Koreans this big usually. This whole thing is a collab between tacos, StarCraft, and constantly exceeding expectations.
That's funny.
You do sound like a bit of a dick in that, but
that's a dick. Okay.
Because you're not. On one end, here's the thing. I think in your head you think you're something, but in real life you're something else. Because here you're like, I'm ignited, idiosyncratic, and brash. You've been here this for an hour, and I have not sensed brashness.
Oh, therapy's done its job, honey. I can hide it.
Whatever it is. But you know what I mean? Like if somebody's reading that and they're thinking one thing and you're coming as something different.
Right, it's a dissonance.
Yeah.
And like it's always been an interest. This has been the thing that's been plaguing my comedy work for the longest time. Like I like myself too much to understand how people perceive me.
Yeah, no. I get it. It's just, again, as somebody who coaches people through their profiles, one big thing is like we see ourselves one way, but we portray something completely different.
Right.
So I had a girl come on and she was like, I'm very alpha and I'm very, she literally was like, I like to make plans. I'm very organized and alpha and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But when I looked at her profile, I was like, girl, you come off like the cutesiest, sweetest. She's like, I'll do anything you want. Like literally kind of wrote that in her profile. And I was like, that is not alpha. And she literally wrote in her profile 3 times that she's funny and she loves laughter and yet cracked 0 jokes and then said, oh, I actually don't really laugh a lot. And I was like, so why have you written that you are funny? She actually wrote one that said, her friends will consider her one of the funniest people in life.
Which I wonder
and
what
I was
friends...
like, what? And she didn't even know. So sometimes, like, again, we perceive ourselves in a different way, and then we're portraying ourselves
Yeah.
in a different way. So to me, that's one thing.
Oh yeah.
Question about this app. What app is this?
Coffee Meets Bagel.
This is Coffee Meets Bagel. Can you order where those questions go?
No.
That's the order that they give you.
I believe those are fixed questions. Other factors regarding Coffee Meets Bagel, in the LA market, it's mostly Asians.
Got it.
Like a lot of Asian Americans.
Because there was one where it's like, one thing I want to learn, and your comment is, I want to learn a magic mic routine just to have on hand in case it go whatever. And that's a funny comment that if you can reorder where those questions go, lead with the shorter, funny thing, I think.
I have to check if that you're able to reorder stuff. Like Hinge, you can reorder, obviously, as people know. And that's just checking.
So you got a lot of matches.
Over the course of like the last 9, 8 years. Yeah.
You don't unmatch the ones that go nowhere? You just keep them there?
Yeah. I know for some people, right, they get overwhelmed by it. I'm like, like I can compartmentalize things pretty quickly in my head. Right. And then also I'm not like actively aware of the apps while I'm out and about. Like comedy work, as you might know, it's like you're got to be on site, present, etc. But I know for other people, it's been very, I would love to get into their brains about like, how does their anxiety work that they feel overwhelmed by something I don't feel particularly like nonplussed about. So yeah, what are you saying?
Can we see Field? Can we see what his Field account is?
There's no connections on Field, I'll tell you that much.
I'm also I'm creeping into your messages.
Yeah, are you trying to find dirt? Because I don't know if you're going to be able to find something.
I don't want dirt. I just want to see who you actually are versus what. Okay. This is his holy profile, guys. We're in his holy profile.
That's the Christian dating app. So right now, the prompts are different.
And it says, Jesus is my guild leader. Okay.
It's an old joke.
All right.
It's such an old joke.
Yeah. Why Jesus matters to me. He's the most existentially satisfying explanation, answer, and gift to the fundamental questions and challenges about existence to me. I'm passionate about, okay.
Boring stuff.
Non-denominational, 10 weekly.
Can I give you an alternate opener?
Please.
What was the question about Jesus and wine?
Why does Jesus matter to me, or something to the effect?
Can I give you an alternate take?
Do it.
Because he turned water into wine, and who doesn't love a good glass with dinner or something like that? Because
really? We got a workshop. I mean, there's something there.
I think there's some. I mean, if you like drinking and drinks, that lets people know that you do like to have a drink with your dinner,
right?
And it's
What is this picture?
That is a still from me doing a new style hustle dance at a class. So they won't let me post videos. So I might as well just grab like one of the nice poses that happened during that sequence.
Sure.
Okay.
Now you use a lot of the same photos on all these apps.
Yeah, it's pretty consistent.
Right, but if you're not having luck on one app, what makes you think all of those photos will do better on a different app?
I mean, they're in my head, they're the best photos of me. They're expressive of what I am as best as possible, and like there's some modifications too, right? Like depending on how many photos they allow you, if they allow video, for example,
right?
There's not really a calculation in my head where I'm like overly specific. Like let's use Field versus Holy, for example. Like they're not using dramatically different photos. I don't think.
Right.
Okay. Now we're in Field.
Okay. There's no connections in there though. You're not gonna.
That's okay. I want to see why.
Field hilariously is running into the same issues I think other dating apps have.
Yes, all the same pictures.
Now,
I'm not a fan of these. I'm just going to tell you straight up.
Can we go to his Instagram and look at some of his photos he's got on?
But I want to see where you get to
do your profile.
Yeah, where's your actual profile? Oh, do I just like press here?
Yeah, this is the annoying thing about the UX.
Oh, okay.
It's that.
Okay.
Yeah.
My field name is Panda. Got it.
There's probably a modifier there to throw a bone out to the Field audience.
See, I was right.
Because that's the thing.
I was right. Desires, being submissive.
Right, but then
I'm
going to very much emphasize, I have no experiential evidence for this. I'm interested.
No, I can tell. What do you mean? That's the experiential experience.
Okay.
You are telling us that you like women who are aggressive and take charge and put you in your place.
Sure.
And,
so the dilemma with that
So then that becomes that you prefer to be submissive.
Which is...
we're not describing it as a kink necessarily, just as like a dynamic.
Yeah,
okay,
but it's a kink dynamic that also kind of,
right.
It tells us a little bit something about ourselves too.
Yeah.
Like that's nothing wrong with it.
Right.
I'm just saying it's acknowledging it because then you can use that to find the women that want that. You know, there
Right.
are women who like to be the dom.
Where
and
are
then-
they?
Yeah.
Can
Listen, there are tons of them who like dom and then they want a sub. So you got to find that dynamic
Right.
versus saying you are a dom, because right now you're trying to self-portray as like a brash, like I'm gonna roast you and put you in your place, and it's like, but you're not, because you kind of. I think you're a softie at heart.
I mean, yeah, a lot of people would agree that yeah, sure.
Like nothing has come off to me as like you're a weirdo, or I think you're. I think the only
bare
thing to
minimum.
me is like you're using the same pictures and same.
There is a quandary
Yeah.
in everything. There is a quandary in you wanting to be, whether you do or you don't, or you think you do,
Yeah.
wanting to be submissive and be that type of a guy while being attracted to powerful, assertive women, because a high percentage, and I'm generalizing,
Yeah.
but a high percentage of successful CEO, boss bitch women who are assertive in the workforce and in their daily lives
Yeah.
do that in their career and in the workplace. And when they leave that workplace and career behind closed doors, they want to be taken advantage of, my guy. They want to be, and I'm generalizing, but a lot women don't want to be powerful, and again, I'm generalizing, but a high percentage of women who are boss bitches and like lawyers or CEOs, they don't want to have to be in control in their romantic lives.
Yeah.
So it's a yin and a yang. So that's a dilemma, is if you do want to be the submissive side of that, then you got to find a successful, mentally stimulating woman who's also willing to do both.
And how to get to those details on the first date.
Right.
So that was okay. So that was really fascinating. I love looking at people's dating apps.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think one big thing for me is and you're going to send us those pictures that you have on the app, because then we're going to use it in the in the YouTube so people can actually see what we were seeing.
Yeah.
But my big thing is that in person you come off much more
You can be mean. It's fine.
No, I don't. I want to be careful with my words, because I don't like doing the masculine feminine thing. But like energetically, like in your pictures, it comes off much more soft and kind of like a little goofy, and which you totally can be. But like I can see sort of like a slightly feminine side on in picture that I don't totally feel or see in real life. So a little gap there. And again, you keep saying that you keep getting friend zoned. So
not constantly, but like that's the way most of those relationships
your
end.
longest relationship has been 4 months.
But I ended that on my terms.
Sure.
Fundamentally.
But in past relationships, a lot of times this has ended how?
With the friend zone thing, yeah.
Yeah. So, but that just means, I think, that it's energetically a little different. Like I think you want to come off one way, but you might be coming off in a different way.
Totally possible, yeah.
So I think it's like, how are you at work? Are you kind of an assertive guy at work? Are you?
I'm not in a position, ever since, at least since I did art direction back in university, to make like assertive decisions about stuff. It's very much like discussions with like my lead, for example. But like, hey, so you're saying this, like, are you like, I'm trying to clarify, like, do you want this or that option?
Do you ever go out and pitch ideas, or do you ever take the initiative to like go, hey, I think maybe we would want this, or do you speak out at meetings and stuff like that?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And like, and it's been a nice thing to hear, like on the sidelines or directly, like, I mean, the last job I left, it's like, hey, like you've been such a nice, like a good contribution to the culture of the studio. Like we're gonna miss you, kind of deal. So like I've always found myself leaving a positive mark, and I mean, and that's just coming from like I genuinely would like to get to know and be friends with the people I work with and stuff like that.
So this last relationship that you said was 9 dates over 4 months.
Yeah.
That would, let's average out to 2 dates a month.
Sure.
Why so long? Like, why did it take so long to meet? Like, how come so few?
Oh, like so few
dates
with her?
Yeah, that's not
I was busy.
a lot. Just because you, also her busy or just you busy?
I mean, on her end at the time, she was taking, like, she would have to babysit for her sister's son, her nephew. There was like visa stuff that she was still tackling on her end, and also work as well. For me, it's work. It's like if I'm not working on Star Wars video games during the day, I'm doing comedy stuff at night. Whether it's open mics, like my free time is taken up by something that I am wanting to do. So the dates are very much scheduled in the sense of like, is our schedule aligning? She doesn't have a car, so I have to like also factor in the time of picking her up and stuff like that. That's like the first baseline as to why it was so few. To me, weirdly, that seems weirdly frequent or slightly above frequent, 2 dates a week. Like I was surprised by that.
But it wasn't 2 dates a week, right? It was 2 dates a month because it was 9 dates over 4 months.
Oh yeah. So you're right. Yeah. Okay.
That would average to 2 dates a month.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe one good month with 3.
And like normal rhythm would feel like a month or a date a week. But yeah, it's
well, usually once you get into a rhythm with somebody after like 4 dates, you're probably seeing them a little bit more frequently. I don't know, Raz.
I would hope so.
Yeah, because like in over 4 months.
Yeah.
Because you're here for I'm not even trying to roast you right now. I'm just literally.
I kind of wish you would. Just
no, I'm trying to give some advice to be like, I think.
Yeah. Did you like this person?
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. You say we were busy. Do you know who else is busy? Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce.
Right, but she makes time.
Make time.
Exactly.
So cancel. So don't do one open mic and go hang out with the girl you like and then cultivate that relationship. And then you can see each other in the mornings or at night after these things. You can go hang out and be quiet with her. But at first, starting off, you got to make time. You know, if he, I hate the phrase, but if they wanted to, they would.
Right.
And that takes both sides. But you also got to be willing to make concessions to not do things you want to do because you'd rather hang out with a girl you like.
And I was finding myself making, as time went on, those concessions. Like it was a curiosity to me of like, all right, so where is this going? Like, I did find myself sacrificing things, and that was not unexpected.
Got it.
I'm sure if that relationship went longer, we would have increased frequency, clinically speaking, and like
because you said you want to get married, you want a serious relationship, and you want to get married. Yeah. So that means that has to be equal priority as work and comedy and family. So it's hard to balance. Like they usually say you can only handle 3 things in your life at a time. That includes like working out. So, really, so that it's very hard to prioritize. And sometimes like if you're saying that this is a really important part of your life, you got to make that a bit of a priority. And I think you got to figure out if you want to be the sub, then you got to look for different types of women. If you want to be the dom, you got to look for different types of women. Yeah. But I'm going to push back on both you fuckers. You need to pick better women because you're just like, oh, women only like this type of guy. That's not true. The women you're picking are insecure women who have not done the work on themselves. So they like those kinds of people. Yeah. The women who are posting all day, Razzle, on TikTok are not women who necessarily have their shit together.
I agree. And that's why I am getting better at saying generalizing. Yeah.
Pick
but yes.
women better or pick better women would be my pushback to you. What is your type of woman? Like, how would you describe?
Like the ideal version of this?
Yeah.
She's got a chip on her shoulder about something. Or which I mean by that, she's like, assertive, like there's something in her life that she wants to get done and she's working towards that, whether it's a career
thing. That is already unhealthy.
So I wonder if there's a healthier way to describe that.
Yes.
Because in some ways,
you want somebody who is confident.
Oh yeah, for sure. But that feels default though. Like of course people want that.
No, not everybody wants that.
So I want someone that's confident in themselves.
But chip on her shoulder is arrogance.
Or angry.
Do you want arrogant?
I mean, someone's on a self-belief is arrogance, right?
No, that's confidence. Confidence and arrogance are 2 very different things. Confident is like, hey, I'm gonna, I know my self-worth and whatever. Arrogance is, bitch, I'm better than you.
Right. Okay. If we're using that makes sense. So confidence for sure. And then is curious about what I'm doing comes to play. And the third thing that comes to mind, just to keep this list short, is like there's something about the visual of like I want to see her and be like, I am so grateful that I'm even in a relationship with her, and or it's something about like I believe in her so much about what she's trying to do or something, like some version of admiration. This gets back to the whole like intimidation thing, which I'm like, it would be nice to be in a relationship with someone who's just better at something than I am. That's like super cool about this XYZ thing, because I know I'm a limited human being. and I know I'm not looking necessarily for a clone of me but at the same time, it's like there's no one like me. Like this is from my experience. Like there's no one like me out there. Like I have best friends, but they can't keep up with me.
Right.
90% of the time.
You know, of the like 3 things you said, 2 of those are the exact same thing.
So, what, do you need a different thing?
No, I just want to know, who are you looking for besides somebody who just is good at something that they do?
Yeah, can I ask a question
Because
too about
that's like
that?
not
You're saying all traits that I think are great, and everything you've said I agree with in the sense of those are valuable. Confidences and drive and intelligence are great things. But also, if those are all the same thing, is there a hang up that's are you appearance-wise? You haven't said anything.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So I'm just curious.
And also values, like are they into family? Right. Are they, do they like to go out? Are they introverts, extroverts? Do you have a preference of anything?
Valuable things.
I mean, so getting down to the appearance-wise, it's like hopefully somebody that's athletic or like works on themselves physically. Like there was a date before where, in short, she did a very good job of hiding her second chin in her photos. So like I remember that being like technically like I'm not like I can't.
Okay.
Other things like I mean I could work with. You know what? I guess the hardest no is that if there's something about this commitment to like home, like a homely looking fashion sensibility or something. Even then, like that feels mean. Just because there's obviously beautiful people out there who can pull out that cottagecore look or something. And this gets back to like I would kind of want to just take people as they come. Value.
So cottagecore, but not cute.
Okay, there we go. Sorry. Hopefully not cute.
Okay, but
mature looking. Sultry comes to mind as an adjective I want it like to be a thing.
But cottagecore.
Not cottagecore.
Okay, if not cottagecore.
If possible. You said. Okay. Not a hard no on that. Value stuff. I mean, yes to family, but it depends on what way. Like, are they the kind of I don't know. Like, I don't know.
It's whatever you want. It's not. We're not the ones.
Right.
Right. I would hope that they care about their family and that it'd be interesting to work out the differences in like how I care about my family versus how they care about their family. Values would include like open-minded, being able to hold discussions in uncomfortable spaces, to do that. Because for me, I mean, I put that expectation on myself of like I'm trying not to be the kind of person who walks away from something just because it's uncomfortable. Like I don't see that as a bad thing necessarily. It's just like kind of like fear. Like of course you feel it, but then the real question is courage is what you do in light of the fear. And I would hope that the woman I'm in a relationship with also holds that same value in relation to uncomfortable things, challenging things. Fights well, like that's just gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
There's a joke in my head where I say, I'm less interested in first kisses, I'm more interested in first fights. Like how much do you love somebody?
Have you ever had a fight with somebody?
Not like completely a fight.
Yeah.
Like the closest it got was with the last relationship, but that wasn't a fight as much as it was just actively discussing expectations and deal breakers and stuff like that. So
because you've never been in a relationship enough to let it get to a fight.
No long-term relationship yet. Yeah.
No, is that a phrase? Because I like that phrase. What? I think that's a cool phrase.
Which one?
I'm less interested in first kisses and more interested in first fights. That's a story right there. That's a interactive thing. Do you have that phrase on any of your dating apps?
No, because that sounds to me. I would think a lot of women would get an ick from that.
They might.
But it also might interest someone to be like, hold on, this is not as basic as everybody else.
Sure.
I mean, there's a lot of women out there doing the work on themselves and going to therapy and liking cleverness as well. Yeah. And it's, every relationship's going to have a fight at some point.
Oh, yeah. So now as you phrase it that way and frame it that way, I'm like, maybe now I'm probably going to find a way to put that in somewhere. Yeah.
But I would frame it, add a little sentence after that as the positive, which is because I know there will be, and I want to know how this,
right?
That just like frame it in that positive way.
Yeah.
Brian, I want you to fill in a couple blanks for us. Okay, just a couple statements. Women should blank.
Thrive.
Chivalry to me is blank.
Dead. We need a new word.
Okay. Are you chivalrous?
I am, but I don't believe in feudalism and stuff like that. To me, like I feel like what would be more precise these days and has less baggage attached to it is be a gentleman. Like chivalry, this is my nerd brain, where it's like, we're like, what lords? We're in a democracy. Like, stop.
Mm-hmm.
No kings and queens. We're all just voted into power somehow. But gentleman's feels more precise.
Okay.
Less baggage to it.
Blank is the most mind-blowing blank.
Blank is the most mind-blowing blank. Joe Pera is the most mind-blowing comedian.
Okay. Make it about relationships.
Oh, relationships.
Joe Perry?
Joe Pera.
Joe Pera.
Oh my God, that guy is Mr. Rogers who does jokes. Blank is the most mind-blowing. Proactivity is the most mind-blowing character quality.
Okay. And blank is an immediate red flag.
Hard drug use is an immediate red flag.
All right. Okay.
Just to choose an obvious.
We're learning things about you, Brian.
Yeah.
We learned a lot about you in this last hour. Listeners, we want you to decide. Okay, Razzle and I will give our thoughts. Gather them for a second, Raz. We're going to give our thoughts, but I want you guys to decide. Is Brian Choi the problem, or is everyone else the problem? So this episode will air on a Tuesday. As soon as this episode drops, go to our Instagram at Kinda Dating, and there will be a poll there for you to see and for you to vote on to let us know, is Brian Choi the problem? Raz, what do you think?
I don't think he's I don't think he's the problem specifically. I think perhaps the way you portray yourself on these dating apps is somewhat contradictory to what I've experienced right here. I think there's a way to, you've said some things that even like, you're like, why? Like even that the first fight thing is like, that's a clever thing. That's a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like you can be more real on some of these dating apps, if that is the case. But also I think I think you got to figure out what you want specifically versus, do you want to be submissive and do you want someone assertive, or, are you the one who's going, because if you're being the brash and the assertive one out the gate, then you can't expect to suddenly flip that.
I could be a
3
switch.
weeks down. Do you know what I mean?
I could be a switch.
Yeah, but but if you rope someone in on that,
yeah.
to expect them to suddenly switch is, they're
Right.
they're going into it under the assumption that it's going to be like that.
Right.
But then you suddenly play coy. I don't know. So I would say 50-50.
I'm gonna push and say Brian Choi is the problem.
I mean, it always is. I'm never going to win.
No, and I mean it with love in the sense that I think I agree. Your online persona and your real life persona don't match. I will not believe that you were banned off of Bumble and Hinge 7-8 times for the reasons you are saying. And that laugh is telling me that there is something that he is not telling us. You don't know what you really want, even though you seem like a very thoughtful person in some areas, but a lot of it is on autopilot. So again, I did look at your messages and your DMs, and they were all the copy pastes of whatever's in the spreadsheet. So I get it. I understand. We all have our opening lines, but I think it's so generic because you don't know totally what you want, which is why you are putting this like giant fishnet out to any human that could possibly exist. You're like, here's 18 dating apps that I'm going to spend all my free time on, which you say you don't have a lot of, but then you're also very flexible. So there's something not aligning to me.
Yeah.
And I think part of it is like you really digging deep to not just go, hey, I want a bitch who has like a chip on her shoulder, but going, I want somebody who adds this value to my life because I want to get married. So my mom told me this once. She goes, your actions and your words have to line up. You are right now word vomiting and saying a lot of things that you think you want, but you are functioning in a very different way. And then we can't keep blaming the outside world for being like, well, you're not fitting the my needs because you don't know your needs yet. So I'm going to put this back on you, Brian, and say, you're the problem. I want you to dig deeper and come back and tell us some real shit. And I Bumble, Hinge people, tell us why you banned him. I want to know.
Yeah, stop being shysty and like
I want to
shy
know
and
the
coy
real
about it.
reasons. Not because you roasted a couple girls.
Release the tapes.
Release the list.
Brian Choi, thank you so much for being on the show. I know that thank you for allowing us to just poke and prod at you a bit. Did you get anything out of it?
Some new perspectives. This is far more useful than the screener call I had with this Asian dating coach a couple days ago. But I think, I appreciate the new perspectives. You're literally the first person who said something to the effect of like, you're coming off as softer on the dating profile stuff than, yeah.
For the type of woman that you want. I'm putting a hat on of like the type of woman that you say you are attracted to would look at that and think soft.
Okay.
That said, I don't want you to be like, and you and I can do this separately because guys, literally this is what I do. I coach and I go through people's profiles, is not to like, I don't want you to mean mug and be like an annoying like tech bro, you know what I mean? But who's the real Brian? Like the guy who's sitting in front of me right now is very different than the guy online. And you can have both sides, but we want to be able to show all those sides. Right now, you're just showing one side. And I don't think it's necessarily the most flattering side of you. Okay. So how do we incorporate nerd culture and some of your interests? Like, it's awesome that you love to dance and you do these bagpipes and you do this kind of stuff. But then also to be the kind of person that you seem to want to be, which is like an assertive dude who also wants to hold his own in a relationship. Mm-hmm. So how do we balance those two personalities in 5 pictures and 4 prompts? That's what we figure out.
I read the challenge. Yeah.
That's what we figure out. And when I say you're the problem, I mean that again with the most love. Is that I want you to dig deeper because you are clearly a very smart dude who has a lot to offer. So single ladies, slide into Brian Choi's DMs. Now you know a lot about him.
I have free Disneyland tickets. Just
which
I'm second guessing my sexuality. We'll suck dick for Disneyland tickets. No.
Yep.
So it's a $220 blowjob is what it is.
I'm cheap, baby. In this economy.
Oh my God.
It's true.
Space Mountain. No.
The value might change by the time this drops too, like $250 maybe.
Yeah. It's true. Well, guys, Brian Choi's social media will be in the show notes of this episode. So again, follow him. That said, you can probably find him on any dating app known to man because he is there on every single one.
I have an OnlyFans too.
There you go.
Hold on.
This
Same
is
social
awesome.
media.
Wait, now why the fuck did he tell us this at the end of this fucking
Because it's for comedy stuff. It's not a sexy one.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's not. It's just. I'll just post my shows up there and
yeah.
Wink, wink.
And I wear a sailor hat because I'm not a sailor.
I was wondering about that.
Brian, thank you so much for being on the show. How can everybody find you on social media?
I am Jade I Panda. Jade like the stone. I like your eyeball and panda on all social media. Or if you type in Brian Panda Choi, I should just pop up most of the time.
And friends, if you're listening and you want to be here, if you are in the LA area and you want us to break down your dating life and figure out if you are the fucking problem, DM us on Instagram or email us at kindadating@gmail.com. Raz, where can everybody find you?
Find me on Instagram at Razzle Dangerously, Spotify, all that stuff. I got podcasts and stuff. You can just look up Razzle Dangerously, TikTok at My Name is Razzle, all that stuff. Thank you.
And I'm at Natasha Chandel on Instagram and Facebook, Natasha.Chandel on TikTok. And we are at Kinda Dating across the board. Make sure you follow us and subscribe to the podcast wherever you get it, including YouTube. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. Thank you for downloading this episode. If you like something you heard, screenshot it and tag us on social media. Finally, I know it seems tough out there, but just try. Till next time. I hope you guys enjoyed that video and check out our next one. Thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe to this channel for more amazing dating, love, and relationship advice from me and so many expert guests. Follow us on socials. We're at Kinda Dating across the board. I'm Natasha Chandel, so you can find me too if you like. And join our newsletter on www.kindadating.com for lots of exclusives. See you soon.